What's up, guys? Welcome to Powerline Podcast. My name is Ryan Lucas. All right, before we dive into the episode, I need to ask a favor from you guys. It's been brought to my attention that in the last 60 days, 66% of you out there are not subscribed to the show on YouTube. If you guys could do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It really helps me build this show and, draw the attention that I need from the people I need to draw attention from to help grow this thing and push it forward. If I could ask that favor from you, if you could do that for me. And then if you are listening from any just audio platform like Spotify, Apple, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well and leave a review if you could. It helps so much if you could do that. Thank you. Let's dive right in this episode of Powerline Podcast. All right, Wayne. Thanks for being on the show. Thanks for making the trip down from Canada.
Nice to be here. No, yeah. It's way better doing this in person than over the phone. So I'm glad I was able to make it work.
This was the greatest thing that happened to this podcast was the ability to do in-person interviews again.
Yeah.
I started it in 2019, and I started it doing interviews online because that's all I could really find. But then I moved to in-person interviews, and I liked doing them so much better. Just sit with somebody and just chat and talk and record. And back then it was just all audio. So that was a little nicer, a little more forgiving.
Yeah, it's next level when you can do it in person.
Just hit pause and then start again. But then COVID happened and it just went to all online, and it was driving me crazy, to be honest. It was so hard to manage people's internet connections and microphone issues and video cameras and green screen and my dog barking in the background. It was just a complete shit show. So this is nice to have you down.
Yeah, no, it's great. Thanks for bringing me on.
What projects are you working on right now?
Right now, I am working on, as a supervisor, working distribution. So I got a few crews working underneath me. We're doing anything from underground and some subdivision stuff up to rubber glove, a little bit of stick work, ton of hot work is going on right now. So,
have you always hung out in distribution?
No, I started underground. That's where my roots were. I did a few years there. Didn't want to do that the rest of my life. So I jumped over to the company I'm at now, actually, and did a little bit underground there, and then moved into distribution. When distribution slowed down, I moved into transmission. I got a chance to do some barehand work. I jumped on that, did that for a little bit. Actually came down to Texas, did a bit of that down here, and then found my way back into distribution. So.
I want to talk about the barehand work later, but what did you think of it just overall?
Oh, it's amazing.
Did it check the box for you?
Yeah. Yeah. It's if you have never done it, or if you ever get the chance to do it, it's something you got to take.
What aspect of it did you like the most?
All of it, just being on an energized line. I come from rubber glove background, so it's a different way of thinking when you got to go hands-on, and when you're biting a wire and stuff like that, it's energized. It's a whole different ball game. Yeah.
So where are you from? Where'd you grow
up? Originally I'm from Vancouver Island.
I didn't know that about you, actually. Cool.
Yeah, actually, not
so
45
many linemen came off of Vancouver Island. Yeah. I think we talked about that at the queue there too. I forgot about that.
45 minutes south of the lineman factory at Campbell River.
So where was it? Was it a small little town?
Small little town called Arrington. There's a 4-way stop.
20 minutes. That's close enough to the lineman.
45.
45. Okay.
So in the ballpark, but a little further away. I grew up there. Moved up to Calgary 2001. I think I moved there. Been there ever since. It's just been great.
Talk about growing up on Vancouver Island.
Can't beat it. No, I spent my days as a kid probably pretty similar to you, where you disappear out of the house until lunchtime, kind of thing. You come back, eat, and then you disappear again. Like there's no,
Did you get caught up in the whole fishing gig too? Do lots of like ocean fishing and stuff?
I didn't growing up. It's something I really want to do. It's
tough. It's an investment.
Yeah, right. Like it's expensive. It's not cheap.
Guys like Jason, and those guys sink their life savings into that, but it's kind of like their passion too. So.
One of my brothers actually, he's got a sailboat and they're fixing it up now, and he plans on him and his wife sailing around and living on it. So,
just around the local area, or do they plan on like?
I think they plan on some bigger trips.
No kidding.
It's if you can make it work, it would be a pretty cool lifestyle.
I had another buddy named Brock McLean. Shout out Brock. He was telling me about some of his younger, dumber years or whatever. Him and it was like 3 or 4 buddies decided that they were gonna buy a sailboat, so they bought a sailboat and fixed it up. And I think he said he like sailed to Alaska on this thing. He's like, we tipped it over twice, and I was like, what? You tipped it over and you got it back out? He's like, oh yeah, we got it back. I'm like, how the hell did you even do that?
Yeah, it sounds a little risky.
Yeah.
A little more than I'd want to get into. But yeah, no, growing up on the island was great. Like, you grew up outside. Like I remember when my mom was pregnant with my youngest brother, going out, cutting a tree down. I think I was about 4 years old by myself kind of thing. And it got hung up in a tree, and I had to go and get my mom to come push it over because I knew that a tree that was snagged up in another tree was dangerous and you didn't want to leave it. And so I kind of grew up like that, and down
these
at
are good things to learn as a kid. I lived on, I had 10 acres, and I think that was the freest my boys ever felt, was when we had property like that. Especially, maybe not so much my oldest, he could kind of like take it or leave it, but my middle child, he was like, he's dyslexic, ADD, just like his dad, and loves being outside, just loves like tinkering with things outside and like wandering around and playing with things. I remember coming outside sometimes, and this one time I came out and he had like created, he wanted a motorbike, and I think he had one at the time, but he wasn't working or something, so he just wanted to build one. So I'm like, go outside and build a bike. He's like, what do you mean? So he goes outside, I come back out, and he's like, he's got an entire like Harley Davidson built out of tree bark and branches and shit. But I wish I had a photo of it, because it was like, that's a bike. Like, that's legit. Like, how did you do that? It was a full-on sculpture almost. He's like, I just wanted something to ride on. It's like, okay.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. No, I wish, like my kids could have kind of the same upbringing. Like, it's pretty neat to be able to grow up in those kind of settings, and like we don't have that. Like, we're close to the mountains where we're living now, just outside Calgary, but we don't quite have the same wildlife. They're there. It's still, we have to drive to get to them, where growing up, like I could just ride my bike. Yeah. But we actually our oldest boy there, he's in he's in kindergarten right now. We have him in a nature program.
Oh, cool.
So he's able to get outside, and as he gets older and goes through his program, he'll do more and more stuff outside, which is pretty cool.
I think kids need to learn like that, to be honest. Like, everyone I grew up around, I think this goes into like why places like Vancouver Island makes good tradespeople, whether it's line work or whatever, and why places like BC and Canada for that matter, as soon as you get outside the city, which doesn't take very long to get outside the city, and most of Canadians, half of them live outside of the city, half of them live in the city. But the ones that live outside the city usually make really good blue collar trades workers, because that's what they grew up around, right? Like
that's right.
They had to, like my kids as well. You mentioned cutting down trees. It's like, we had to get firewood for the fireplace. So they had to help me cut wood and stock the woodshed. And they just learned things like that. And then these things like just wandering around in the back 40, just learning how to do things. That's how I grew up too, right? Like, if I rode my dirt bike half an hour from home and it broke down, I had to figure out how to get it back, or I pushed it. And I did that several thousand times too. Just like push it to the top of a hill, ride it down the hill, coast down the hill. Like, I don't know. You just figure things out.
You got to figure it out on your own. Yeah. You don't have that somebody standing over you when you're out in the bush by yourself, telling you what to do or how to do it. So you got to figure it out, and that's just how you learn stuff, right? You figure it out on your own.
So sticking kids in programs like that, I think is a good idea. Like if you don't have that ability, like, because you kind of live in an urban environment, like find some programs that challenge your kids in other ways, like these outdoor programs. I think that's cool.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. And hopefully like this program continues to grow, because like, what are you learning in school these days? They're not teaching you how to grow your own food or your own finances, stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. Where if you get outside and you start wandering around in nature, and you're going to figure some of this stuff out a little better than sitting in a classroom. Like, I know I struggled going through school. I hated being inside. Like, I did not want to be in a classroom. That was the last thing I ever wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And it's not that I couldn't figure it out or couldn't do it, but I just didn't want to be there. And yeah,
it's just not built for us. Like, it's not built for our minds, our brains, the way we operate, the way we work. Like, we're usually typically super creative people, super smart. Like, we have skills that others don't have, and then just not the skills that they teach in regular schools. And it's just boring, like that's flat out just boring. Like, it's just not, there's nothing interesting there.
It's catered to if you want to go be a doctor or you want to be an accountant or something like that. Like, it's catered to that, and it's not catered to like a trade based, even though you have some of that stuff in school. Mm-hmm. Like, the rest of school is catered towards academics and not hands-on work.
And the thing is like, we know that, and we have no choice. You have to stick your children in schools like that, which is fine, because like those are skills that you should also try to like develop and learn. But like, if you can draw awareness to like your kid not being the one that likes and excels in that sort of environment, then create an environment for them, or find an environment that they can thrive in. Like, whether it is outdoor programs like that, or like sports, like putting them in like a martial arts, or, you know, hockey, or, you know, down here, like baseball or football, like just getting them in some sort of athletics where they thrive, or some sort of extra programming that's going to teach them the things that they need to learn in that side of the life, like teamwork and leadership and those soft skills, right?
That's 100% right. Yeah. Just get out there and do some different stuff. Like, school is still important. Like, you need to learn how to talk, use some proper grammar. You need to spell, write, stuff like that. Math is super important in all aspects in what we do, especially like here in the trade. Like, you need to know some math stuff. And if you don't, you probably need to learn it.
I always found somebody that was good in math.
Yeah, like, just figuring out, like, if you're out on a barehand job and you want to figure out your line tension, you need to know what that formula is and how to plug some numbers in. Like, it's not a hard, complex math problem, but if you don't know how to use it, then you got to figure that out. And like, school teaches you that, just they don't teach you how to apply it. They teach you what it is, but not how to apply it in real world scenarios. So
yeah, that's actually an important concept too, is like drawing that connection between like math. Okay, great, math. They teach you the general basics, but like how are you going to apply that in the skill set that you are in?
Yeah, they don't teach you how to apply it. And I think that's where I would have done a lot better in school if they showed me how to apply it, or what would I ever use this for? Yeah. And some of it just never made sense to me. So I was like, why am I going to learn this? I'm never going to use this. This is a waste of my time. I want to be out skateboarding, or I want to be out swimming at the river. Like, I don't want to be here learning something that I'm never going to use.
They could probably, that's so neat. Like, they don't give you real world applications. And I guess that's what's so neat. Like, when you join like a trade like line work, it's like all of a sudden you have this real world application for the skill. And it's like you have this aha moment, but it's usually too late, where you have to like go and relearn the skill. Like, I had to take physics again and math again when I joined the line trade, because I was like, just like that, I was like, okay, now I know what this is used for. I better go back and learn it so that I can use it for the skills that I'm, you know, applying it to now.
Yeah, no, that's 100% right. And I think I had to do an upgrade or show some transcripts or something, because like, I did my schooling in BC and it didn't really transfer over to Alberta. Right. So yeah, there was a bit of that I remember going through, but it is what it is, and you just have to upgrade, do what you have to, get through it, and continue on.
What'd your parents do?
My parents, they actually own a little construction company, home building company. So,
on the island?
On the island, yeah.
They're still there?
Yep. They're still there, still doing it. Two of my brothers, I have 3 brothers, so 2 of them have kind of taken the business over now, which is awesome to see, and they're really kind of growing it, and they do some pretty nice quality work. Like, there's still just a little family outfit.
That's awesome.
Like, growing up, I think my dad, he never had more than a few workers working for him. Did most of it himself, kind of thing, and so it's nice to see that now that my brothers are taking it over and continuing it on. They do some really nice custom work, not the
I was just talking to somebody about this the other day. Yeah. I live in a townhouse, and the complex is still being like constructed. So, you know, I go for walks all the time around the area and just having a look at like how things are being built. And I have done this in the past as well, where I built a house in the past from scratch, and I used a custom home builder, like, you know, just like your family, like legit small outfit, just, you know, that guy and a couple of family members that built custom homes. And the whole process was a wonderful process to go through start to finish. And it was such a great product. The house was built right. And I was also of the mindset back then as well, like, I don't want to cheap out on certain things. Like, even the electrical and the wiring, like, I want this switch to switch this plug, and I want this link. Like, we took time and care into like crafting a nice product.
Yeah.
Like, whether it was me wanting a nice product and then the builder also taking the time and effort into using the right materials and, you know, the time into doing things properly, not just like slapping it up. So I'm walking around the neighborhood and I'm watching this gong show of a process of building these townhomes. And it's kind of sad because I didn't realize people like your family exist anymore, because all you see now is this other shit show basically of slapping OSB on toothpicks.
Yep.
And hoping it stays up. Like, it's crazy that my kids were even questioning it. Like, Dad, we don't build nice things in Canada, do we? Like, that's what he said to me there. He's like 17. He's like, Canada just doesn't build nice things, do they? And I was like, you know what? It doesn't really seem that way, does it? You know, everything's cookie cutter. Everything's in a row and a line. And I'm taking the boys to Spain in a couple of months, and they really want to go there because they want to go see all the architecture and see like the way things were made and the way things are made there. And I'm like, yeah, we just don't have that here. Like, you can't find it anywhere. No,
we don't. We really don't have that here. And it's pretty obvious when you start walking around looking at how the new houses are being slapped up, and it's just some of the stuff you see is mind-boggling. And I know when my dad comes out, I built 2 houses, and he's been out kind of at the framing stages, and he has a tough time looking at it, I think. Yeah, because it's not put together
at the
how he would do it.
You've built as well, like, because you've had these builders build them.
Yeah, and both of them have been big builders from big companies.
Sure.
So, yeah.
I kind of understand. Like, I know there's a lot of factors that go into it because, you know, material's expensive, time and labor's expensive. And this goes down to, like, especially fuel right now. Like, Dex and I just worked it out yesterday where we're driving around. We passed the fuel station, and it's like $3.19 a gallon here. So we're working the math back, and it turned out like $8 a liter for Canada. Like, or it turns out to where we are paying in Canada, we are paying $8 a liter for what they're paying for fuel, like 80 cents down here a liter.
That's crazy.
Oh no, I worked the math back wrong. Sorry. It would work out to 80 cents a liter if it was here. Yeah, if we were paying their prices in Canada, it would be 80 cents a liter. But if it's reversed, it's like freaking $8 up there.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's crazy to think that. And like our fuel prices, like they just jumped up 20 cents a liter, and it's crazy. Like,
so if you factor all that stuff in, I guess it's like, it's tough. It's tough. I know it's tough to build and build homes in Canada right now. It's not easy because it's expensive. Like everything's expensive. So I'll give them some forgiveness on that front, but whatever.
No, it'd be nice just to have some guys that cared about what they were doing out there building these houses. I think that's kind of a lost craft at this point. There are guys that care, but most of them are they're slapping up things.
What sort of things did you learn from watching your parents, start this business, run this business? And
I think I gained like huge work ethic from that. Like I used to go with my dad all the time to the job sites and stuff like that. And my mom ran the books in the office, and they put in a lot of long hours. Like you notice that kind of stuff when you're growing up, and you try and hold on to it, and might not kick in till years and years and years later, but that knowledge is always in the back of your mind there. And so I picked up all kinds of things. Like I love working with wood. Like I developed 2 basements myself, and I do all kinds of stuff. And I'm starting to bring that with my 2 kids now, and like they'll come out in the garage and work with me for like the whole day if we would let them.
What sort of stuff are you building?
I'm actually building a table built a table just like this one, and I'm actually working on a big bed frame right now for our master bedroom, and it's going to be an epoxy wood bed frame with a headboard that's going to be 11 feet long and weigh about 600 pounds. And so just stuff like that. Like I'm always
Do you find
doing
yourself
something.
dragging stuff home all the time from like shit you find out, like whether it's on a right of way or working near
all the time?
That's what I found all the time too. I remember coming
see
back
a cool piece of wood, right?
Yeah,
And you want to bring it home. Yeah,
totally.
I got power poles cut up at my house, and like I've done all kinds of neat stuff. Like I got floating shelves made out of like a 80-year-old power pole.
Yeah,
that I cut up with a chainsaw mill.
Yeah,
and like I kept all the marks in there because it looks super cool. But
I remember setting a pole right in front of this guy's house, and he had like a little. It was a shitty looking like little Alaska mill, and he had some beautiful like chunks of logs sitting there that he had just like had friends of his drag in, and I saw this piece of white pine. I'm like, how much to like knock a few slabs off of that? And he's like, $100. And I was like, okay. So I come home with slabs of wood that I needed a line truck to like lift out of the belly and, hide in the back so my wife wouldn't see it. She's like, I saw you drag that shit home. Like, what is that for? I'm like, I don't know. But I dragged that wood around for house to house for 3 houses before I actually used it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy.
I've brought home all kinds of stuff, big rocks for like landscaping in the yard. Or I brought home a big stump, chainsawed out some holes in it, and we put some flowers in there for a planter. It's like you're always bringing something home. There's always something cool you find. Yeah.
Mom and Dad, they started a Powerline company, right? And I remember, like, man, just how much they worked, and you mentioned work ethic. And watching those two try to run this small business in a small town. And it was everything. Like before school, we usually had hockey practice. Myself or my brother. So you were up at 5 every morning. So you're learning these things like getting up early, which, kids today really struggle with that whole
sure do.
Get up early thing. And I just feel it's like such a waste to not get up early. Like, I know some people just can't do it, but like get up early. You just have so much time there that's like available to be productive if you can get yourself up and wake up. So I learned that from them. And then I would go to school. And then right after school, if we didn't have another sort of hockey practice, we were at the shop with them until they had to go home. And it was usually well after the crews had come in and cleaned up the trucks and restocked and parked the trucks for the night. Dad was in doing business, either bidding another job or looking at another project. And Mom ran the front office. So she was just doing the books and doing and this was all like, I remember everything was done by hand. Like they didn't even have at this time when I was in like elementary school, they didn't even have computers really to do this stuff. Like it was ledgers, and like doing the books was an actual book that you opened. And so if you lost it, you lost it. It was a book. Like,
you didn't have
I got to take the books to the accountant. It was a bag full of books they took to the accountant. It was crazy. But just like to watch them do that, and like brother and I would be so bored. We'd be like, just sitting in the trucks or like pulling on crane levers. I don't know. We're in elementary school, so we just like pretend we were doing what we saw these guys doing, right? But that's what, I don't know. It's cool. It's cool now looking back at it and to see the things that they actually taught you indirectly just through, being around it and observing it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty crazy to think that they did all this stuff with pen and paper back then, even like plans.
Yeah.
It was all drawn up. Like it wasn't computerized and
estimates on literal napkins.
Yeah.
Like, one pole, one span of wire, one transformer. That'll be, back then it's probably $1,000. It's like, cool.
Yeah. You look where we're at right now, and the only paper that we really have out on a job site that I can really think of is our live line procedures. Everything else is computerized. Tailboards, prints, everything. So we've come a long way. And just recently too, like it wasn't that long ago, we still had paper prints and stuff like that. But sure. I would say since the COVID era started there, everything has gone completely paperless, and everything's on a computer. Like without a computer, we're basically, you can't work out there.
Yeah.
It's to that point. And just recently, actually, my phone died. And I was like, what do I do now? Like, nobody can get a hold of me.
It could be a good thing.
Could be a good thing. It was actually when we were just getting a snowstorm, and I was thinking, well, if depends how this goes, like there could be some trouble out there, and now nobody can get a hold of me.
You still using a flip phone or what?
No, I got a fancy phone. Yeah, an iPhone. I think it's a 10 or 11, something like that. So I'm up to date on certain things, just not the social media.
Gotcha. What took you to Calgary? Because I noticed that from Vancouver Island specifically, like a lot of the people that I know, like linemen I know from Vancouver Island, and there is a lot. It's a really weird thing out there, you guys. Like, I don't think you quite understand how many line workers this island produces for some reason, but it's a lot. But a good majority of them did that where they were trying to get into the trade, and for some reason they couldn't in BC, so they went to Alberta. Was that what you did as well, or like how did you find the trade and why that transition?
I didn't really know what I wanted to do when I finished high school. I was working for my dad a bit, and I wanted to get out on my own, figure it out. So I just packed up my car and headed to Calgary. And I got a job just doing underground subdivisions with a little company. And it kind of evolved from there. I quite liked it. I wanted to be equipment operator for a while. So I kind of moved into that role a bit, running backhoes, track hose, that kind of thing. And
was that the first experience with equipment? Was when you...
No, I've run equipment before. Like we live on... my parents live on an acreage, and they do a bit of farming and stuff like that. So I've been around tractors, bulldozers, stuff like that. My grandpa had an old bulldozer that I remember him coming over and clearing my parents' lot, and when they built their first house out there. And so I've been around it, and I quite like equipment. I like running it. And so I did that for a little bit, and then decided that I don't like sitting in a piece of equipment all day long. Like that's not for me. So actually I went back, started doing underground subdivisions again, kind of worked my way up a bit through there. And then when I actually wanted to do my apprenticeship, I was like, well, I want to be a lineman. I don't want to be an underground subdivision, like civil guy. So I quit that company and went to the company I'm at now, and started my apprenticeship through there and just started, working my way up. And I really had no idea what I wanted to do out of school, and so this came up. And
how did you find that trend? Like as soon as you found it, what were your thoughts on it? You're like, seems like something I could live with doing. Did it excite you, or did it kind of just?
Yeah, it didn't really, like, doing the underground side didn't really excite me a whole lot. Like, it was a job. Like, it wasn't, sure. I knew I wasn't going to be doing that the rest of my life. Like, I like, working in the dirt. I got no issues with that. But it was, getting into that aerial stuff that once I saw that, I was pretty well hooked. Like, this is what I want to do. So moved into that side of it, finished my apprenticeship, and it just stuck it out and stayed there.
The distribution side, talk about that a little bit. What you liked about it, what you didn't like about it.
There's not much I don't like about it. Like I like distribution. I would take that over transmission. There's nothing wrong with transmission. It's just not my cup of tea. Like, I like the pace of distribution where you can work at 20 different structures in a day. Climbing, you don't have to go 200 feet in the air to do it. If you forget something, it's just a quick trip down. So I like that. I like being able to climb a pole, carry everything I need with me up there, like carry my ground chains, hand line, just go up and do it. I don't like working on man baskets with cranes and stuff as much. But rubber gloving for me, like, that's my thing. I like rubber gloving. I started when I was still an apprentice on a rubber glove crew in Calgary. We were doing everything from energized reconductors in back alleys, rebuilds, up to, just some pretty crazy pole changes, kick and sets, or whatever you want to call them down here. It's a little different, I think, but
cutting kicks,
kicks,
whatever.
Just a few different names for everything. Yeah. But no, I just, I kind of gravitated towards that, and that's where I find that I'm most interested in the work. So I stuck it out rubber gloving, did that for quite a few years. All around kind of Calgary, Alberta. You do a little bit of travel here and there, but I was never like, traveling across the country for work. So that side of it was nice, but I did a few years on the road just working around Alberta. And that was great. Like, we did, started in the energized world. There wasn't a whole lot of it in Alberta, so I feel like I was really fortunate. And coming up, like Calgary, we had a ton of good linemen just around there, and really, really good teachers. So I feel like I kind of excelled kind of after I got my ticket.
Because of that? Like, because you had good mentorship and good leadership and people that are willing to...
Yeah, and that was kind of the start of it, right? And like a lot of the information you get, it doesn't kick in till could be a few years later. Like, they'll teach you something, they'll be like, oh, that's why we did it that way, right? And so you gotta kind of, I don't know, take some lumps, and you're not always going to be the figure it out right away guy, but a few years later, right, some of that stuff will start kicking in, and then you can put it to use and grow from there. So no, I did that, and then I started running rubber glove crew. Did that for quite a few years, and then distribution work slowed down. We actually had a job downtown Calgary, and it was a barehand job, and it was just after Ballard was bought out by Quanta. And so we had some barehand guys there, and it was to change out a whole bunch of dead end glass on a tower. It was like a 3-way or 4-way dead end tower, and there was no access to it, so it was all ladder work.
What voltage?
138. Okay. And so we had these Argos, we hauled all the ladders in, climbed the tower. It wasn't a big tower by any means, sure, but it was super neat job. And after that, like, I worked the cold end every chance I could get up there.
You're hooked about
it. And like, it was awesome.
Like, how do I do this?
Yeah, it was a fun little tower, right? It didn't have like a whole lot of webbing on it, or big webbing where you had to climb it. It was like climbing a ladder. And so it was a fun little jungle gym to play around on. And after that, I got the opportunity to go down to barehand class, which at the time was the Traveling Road Show. I think that was in 2013.
Yeah, cool. That's same time.
Yeah.
Right around the same time I did, 2012, 2013, somewhere around there.
Yeah, and it was super cool. Like, it was just a eye opener, right? Like, they run that military style, and if you're in there screwing around, you're not making it through. Like, I was up till midnight.
Where did you do your training?
Georgia, just outside Atlanta.
Yep.
Yeah, and super cool. The teachers that they had at the time, I think there's only one, Jim Hill, that's still left
Yep.
out of that
Jimmy.
group. Jim's a great guy.
Yep.
Really knowledgeable, great teacher.
The absolute best, most patient guy
Yeah.
to work with, and like one of the smartest dudes I've ever met in the trade.
Yeah.
Anyone who's met Jim Hill out there knows exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And so, yeah, I did my training down there. I think there was one or two guys that didn't make it through the class. And that was an eye-opener for me, because typically training is just like a checkbox. Here's your participation ribbon, right? And you move along. And that was not a participation ribbon. Like, if you didn't work for it, you don't make it.
Sure.
And so that was an eye-opener for the training side, because it's typically not run that way in any part of it. So that just gives kind of props to the barehand program, what they've created and how hard it is to actually make it through.
I love that part of I love it. I want to talk to you a little bit about like the parts of the barehand program that you like, and how to apply them to like other parts of our job as well. That retention rate, not retention rate, but that rejection rate, I guess, or that, you know, you're not guaranteed pass on this training, on this, like this course. I love that aspect of it. It's like, it makes it professional. Like, it makes it like militant, like you said. Like, it makes you try harder in it too, you know, like it makes you show up and pay attention and listen and put in effort to get through it, because, you know, the consequences of something happening in the barehand world, they're high if you let it be high, but you just have to take it serious. Not like you can't take all of line work serious or have to take all of line work serious, but it just levels it up a little bit, and it is elite. And I like that aspect of it. And I like how if somebody shows up that you can tell, like, lineman can always tell when that one person shows up to the job site and you're like, that guy really shouldn't be here.
Yeah.
That program, if you have that person show up, that person's not making it through. Like, they're not getting through to the end. Therefore, you know that you're not going to have to work with that guy doing this job, which is nice to know, which is something that I wish line work had too, because so often you get thrown into the bucket with somebody, with that guy that's like, I really wish I didn't have to go up with this freaking guy today.
Yeah,
So.
I know exactly what you mean, and it's out there everywhere. And so it's nice to see a program like the barehand program where there's nowhere to hide. If you think you're just sitting through that class and riding somebody else's coattails, you're kicked out. It's not going to happen. Like those guys, they ride you. You got to be a foreman to a job. Basically, they're giving you jobs, and you got to go write your procedure, set everything up, figure it out, and run it through. And so everybody takes that turn through the course, and there's nowhere to hide. All the spotlight's right on you for that day, and you're not hiding from it. So no, just how they set the whole program up is great. Like, they give you homework, and most nights you're up till midnight doing your homework. You're working with guys from all operating units from across North America or wherever they're from. And so you're meeting these other guys, and a lot of the guys, some of them aren't good with math, right? So you're helping them out. You're doing what you can to get them through too. You don't want to see guys fail at the same time. Like, it's kind of it's up to them, but if you can help mentor a guy through it or help him out if he struggles with the math of it, like, that's just one small portion of it. So if that's all he struggles with, but he's a hell of a line worker out there and can figure anything out, you want to make sure that he can do that math and get through it. You don't want to see him fail. So
that's like, whether they directly or indirectly put that in the program, I don't know, but that's the whole thing with, you don't really learn until you teach, right? And that's what that program also forces. Like, it forces you to teach, which I think indirectly forces you to learn better too. Like, if you just went and did your siloed, worksheet, and you didn't care about helping your buddy pass as well, or work together to write job procedures or figure the math out or whatever, it just adds an extra layer of learning. Like, it's really driving it home, because now you're like taking what you learned and you're trying to teach somebody. You're applying what you learned already, which helps you learn even quicker and even better. I love that part of it too.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, like I would like to think that they designed the program like that, that they were smart enough to do that, whether that's the case or they just fell into it like that.
Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's in there for that reason. I just haven't directly talked to the person that made the program.
But yeah, no, it's pretty cool. Like, and just, working with the guys from other op units. Like, I think that's the coolest part of it. And like, I don't know if they still do it, but we were able to have a beer sitting down at the Lazy Q. Like, I'd been through the barehand program twice, and I went through the stick program once down there. So like, I did the traveling road show, and then I did second barehand class because I let it expire at the Lazy Q. And you can actually sit there and have a beer with the guys after and kind of bullshit around. And then
after work is done.
At
dinner.
Yeah, but it's not like you're having a bunch and getting out of control. You have one or two, and then that's it. And
it builds that camaraderie and that brotherhood, right?
100%.
Allows you to talk about your day, kind of debrief, unwind a little bit. And
you just sit there and talk about work, and like, it's so different everywhere you go, right? Like, every utility you work for has their different standards or how things are done. Like, I remember one class there, the guy's like, oh, I work off a barge most of the time, somewhere on the East Coast. And I was like, a barge? Like, what is that? What are you doing line work on a barge? And then he's showing us pictures, right? And it's barge, and it's got a crane on it, and they're building Powerline off of a barge.
See, if you had social media, you'd see this.
But I was never exposed to that, right? So I had no idea that was actually going on out there.
Yeah.
But it's pretty cool to see that. And you come away from those classes, and it just opens your eyes to the possibilities. And like, one downside, I guess, to the program is it's talked up so much, and you come out with a bit of a big head.
Yeah.
And we see it quite a bit. The guys just, like, I know I was there too, and you come out with a big head and you got an attitude, and you got to be knocked down a peg after that. It doesn't happen to everybody, but it does happen. Yeah. And so you kind of got to know your boundaries there. And like, we had some guys go through recently, so you kind of warn them what they're getting into, because you don't want them coming out like that. Like, I know I did, and it was I was knocked down a peg for sure. I had one of the supervisors tell me that you got to figure it out here, tone her down a little bit. And like, I was pretty grateful for that. Like, I look back on it now, and if he didn't speak up, it would have been, I don't think I'd be where I am today for sure. So
what do you think, what do you like from the program that could be a takeaway to the everyday lineman? Like, what could we help tell somebody on here that's like, this is something you could directly take from what I learned in that program, and you guys out there could start applying this, like, learn it and apply it?
So we're actually already doing it. I've been helping out with a bit of the rubber glove training through our company now. And so we're taking certain things from the barehand program. Like, the biggest thing is their standards of professionalism. That is, to me, that basically sums it up.
Yeah.
And this is what you're here for. This is what we expect. If you don't want to do that, you don't want to be like that, go find something else to do.
Explain a little bit more into what those standards look like. Are you talking soft skills? Are you talking like communication skills? Like, what do you?
The whole thing, just outlining what our expectations are. The soft skills, just being present when you're up there working. When you're in the class, you're present. You're not somewhere else. You're not on your phone. You're not, like, you're present. You're engaged. You want to be there, and that's basically it. You want to be there in the training. You're not there just to check a box. Like, there's nothing worse than that.
Sure.
If you don't get anything out of the training, then why are you there? Like, you're there to learn. You're there to help others. You're there to basically move yourself up and get better at what you do.
Yeah.
So if you're just there for shits and giggles and to grow your ego, I think that basically outlines it. Like, professionalism, and you have your soft skills, which are just your people skills, and your hard skills, like, show up present and want to be there. Yeah. And I think that's why they give that much homework, is to show that you want to be there. Yeah. And so if you can take that, apply it in different parts of the trade, like just the everyday training that we do out there, and show guys that, like, you're here to learn this. You're not here to sit on your phone and just get through it, right? Like, you're here to learn something, And if you can take that away, you're going to be a much better lineman. You should never go into a training class thinking this is useless. I'm not going to learn anything here. And I know it's out there. A lot of classes that we do, and some of the trainers, third party, whether it be or in-house, they're just there to sign you off and kind of get you back out working. But those are what we're trying to avoid overall. And nobody's going to get anything from that.
I don't think they put enough. I don't think they put enough weight on grading so teaching and or grading the soft skills and professionalism side of a course. So like if you're building a course out there, like a rubber glove course or whatever, a large portion of that, I'd even say 50% of it should be like standards of professionalism. Like when you show up to this class, are you doing things like putting your hand, like, are you leading? Like, are you leading in a good way? Are you like communicating properly? Are you, what are you dressed like? Are you showing up ready to work? Are you showing up not ready to work? Like showing up in your Crocs and your freaking socks? Like how are you presenting? Like I used to ride with a guy that even on a travel day, he was in his outfit, man. Like he was in his high vis and his boots, or maybe he drove, if it was long distance, he had his running shoes on but his boots were there. They were right behind him in the seat behind him. Like they were ready to go just in case, because we've all run into that scenario. We've been called off a project and put on something else, or you've been heading or driving somewhere and all of a sudden you're called, hey, no, actually there's a storm 50 miles down the road. We need you there. And you show up, you're on site, or you just don't know who you're going to bump into either, right? I've bumped into people at service stations before that were like, oh, hey, where'd you coming from? Oh, I'm coming off this other thing. You look like where are you headed? Like, I don't know, you're just like showing up to work, right? You look professional.
No, that's right. Like there's nothing worse than seeing a guy walk into a training class. Doesn't matter what it is, in his Crocs and board shorts and like, what are you here for? Like, yeah, no, there's nothing worse than that. Show up for the job that you're doing, and like we're a trade company, and we work with our hands, and we have minimum stuff that we got to wear out in the field. Show up dressed for it. Don't show up in your Crocs. Yeah, there's nothing worse than that. That's
another part of that program, though, that I really liked, is like they put weight on your professionalism and your leadership, and they're going to grade you on that too, like put actual grades on it. And then you could fail if you're not being professional.
No, that's 100%. And like showing up late or the guy that's trying to hide beers or shows up piled up and like you don't want that in those classes. Like they're pretty important classes, and like your life depends on it, and so do all the guys around you. Mm-hmm. And if you're not there to learn and be serious about it and take it serious, then they have no problems getting rid of you out of that class or even out of the Quanta group. Like, and it's great, and they let you know that.
Yeah. Another thing I like, and I've talked about this one a few times, is I like how you break the job steps down into like an individual step. And I do say this quite a bit as well, is like, I understand in something like distribution, it's pretty hard to break down each and every job step because like there'd just be a million of them. It's a little different in an energized transmission environment because the steps are a little, bigger and there's fewer of them. But I like that aspect and that idea that, okay, you've laid out exactly what you're going to do. You get the whole team on the same page. You sign off on that, and then you go and execute. And if there's any changes in that list and the way it's laid out, or you swap any of those, hey, we're going to swap, we're going to do the 10th step before the 7th step, and this is the reason why, you bring the buckets down, you get the whole team together, you talk about it, you communicate about what you're doing, why you're doing it, everyone's on the same page, you sign off on it again, whether it's a physical signature or you're all there and you're like, yep, I'm good with this, let's go. And then you go back to work. I think that aspect of it should be brought into distribution a little bit more. That's from what I remember, and from talking to people like yourself, there's still a little bit too much of that. the guys in the air just make changes because they're up there. They're the ones up there. They're doing their thing and they're making changes on their own, on the fly, and not bringing the whole team or the whole group into it. And I don't like that part. I think there should be more of that. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
No, I agree 100% with that. And we're starting to see it. Like we kind of adopted for our distribution group, kind of the barehand kind of procedure outline. We actually did that. We started doing the procedures for the distribution. We didn't really know what we were doing at the time. But we started doing the procedures and writing them out. And we did that probably around 2014 or 2015. And it just really helped kind of, it puts it into a big picture, and then you can break it down into pieces. So you start looking at that structure. How are you going to change out that structure? You can break it down. You have the big picture there. You break it into how many steps you want, 100 steps if you need to, right? And that way, by doing it like that, you don't work yourself into a hole.
Gotcha.
You can see where you're going with it. And you start doing these procedures, you're right. The first 10 they're clunky. And then you start writing more and more and more. And by the time you get up to 1,000 procedures, you got her pretty dialed in and can write anything up in a few minutes kind of thing, because you can see the big picture and break it down. And the procedures are so important in how we do that. Not so much like when you're out there performing the work, but beforehand on the planning. Like that's where I'd see a ton of benefit in the procedures for the guys, especially new guys coming up, to be able to, like, we don't expect a guy to be able to write a procedure up on his first try and nail it. But by the time you get 10 done, you should have a pretty good idea how to write a procedure and what you're looking for and the steps that you're going to need to actually do it. And I'm not talking just like the small little steps. It's the maybe the 30th step in, right? If you do the wrong phase first, or you go cut this wire, where does that put you? Does it put you in a bad spot, or are you going to be able to work through that? So the procedures are so important in what we do. It's like, you can't just go out there and wing it anymore. Like at any level, it's just not going to work out for you. You're going to end up getting yourself in a real bad situation.
It could really save you, how many guys out there have been into a scenario where they went to remove a Mac or something and it was, not the one they wanted to remove by hand, they thought it was, just scenarios like that. So like, I love that. Job steps, like at least the big steps, right? Yeah. The important steps, the finicky little, like, oh, did we swing left or swing right? Like, I don't know. That sort of stuff gets a little bit much probably, but like those big steps, I like that.
Yeah, no, you really got to break it down. You got to be able to see the big picture. Like if you can't see the big picture, then you got to, take a few more steps to ensure that everybody's on the same page. But if you can get a crew out there that have done it lots, they know the procedures like the back of their hand, they could probably run through most of those steps without even looking at it and know what their other guy's going to be doing. But for the most part, you need that procedure. You need it on hand, and you need to be following along with it. And we've kind of adopted that for our distribution as well, not just our barehand work. And I think it's working out quite well. We'll see.
Also think like learning tool wise, like you could use these procedures as learning tools for young apprentices that are just coming in. It's like, hey, you want to know how to do this job? Like here's 10 ways, 10 different crews did this similar job. Read through these job steps. They're well written, perfectly executed. Job went well. Like this is a case study on, a great project, small project. Read this through, study it, how it was done. I think that would be I would have loved that back,
Yeah, no, that's a great kind of step, and we've kind of moved towards that as well. We have a team's kind of shared thing where we have all our procedures on there. Where it goes bad is if a guy's just printing it off and using that same procedure for a structure that doesn't fit. Gotcha. So there's a bit of hesitancy, I guess, to give it all out. But you once you start doing it, like the biggest issue I have now is labeling. How do you label this stuff so you're gonna be able to find it again once you get into hundreds and hundreds of procedures? And like if I gave out my whole bank of procedures to somebody, they're not going to have a clue what they're looking at because I'm not very good at labeling. So they're going to have a tough time. Like I can fumble my way through it, but you really need,
How much do you mess around with AI?
None yet. I'm curious. I keep hearing AI and I don't know what applications would be useful for me, but I'm guessing.
So this what you just said just like sparked my brain here. I just had this guy named Alex in Lineman in the other day. So that one will be out in a few weeks, but this guy he comes from like a techie background. He was a kid that grew up, like he was born and raised on computers, either on them for whatever, for school or gaming or like whatever. Total tech guy. Somehow found himself in the line trade and ended up really good at line work too. So he's just like kind of blended these two kind of industries together. And we're in here talking a lot about AI, and he was talking to me about how he uses AI. And so follow me on this one. You just kind of talked about, because to set this up, you just kind of mentioned, putting job procedures in and being able to like recall job procedures and how to apply them on certain, or how to like label them and then recall that, that job, right? So he's using it in this way, which might work. He went into ChatGPT, and you can actually take and get Chat to create your own AI. So like Wayne's AI. And so you can impart data and almost like use it as a journal. So you're just like imparting your whole day into this, like as detailed as you want to go, trying to like kind of, I guess, build your own avatar within Chat, but then you also use it as a journal. So if you used it as a journal entry and you entered everything you did that day, like what you worked on, how you worked on it, the standards, like the construction standards for, whatever utility you're working for, that it all goes in this as a journal entry. You could then 3 years later just go like, hey, what was I doing? What was I building on, February 22nd, 2024? And it's like, just pulls it up in a second, boom. Or if you like go to work on storm in another area and you'd happen to work in that area at some point in time, you're just like, build me, how would I change this pole out? And I'm at a single phase, whatever, the bank on it, or 3-phase with a bank on it. How would I change this out? Like it just gonna go bring it all up. So I don't know. I think like there's AI applications that are coming. They're not too far away for like storing information like that and then being able to recall it within seconds. And I think we're like close to that.
There's a huge application for that.
Right? Like, isn't that insane?
Yeah. That's something that I'd like to explore a little bit, because that could really further us as linemen. And I think the organization, linemen are not known for organization. No. So something.
I think that's where technology is going to help us. And some people might be rolling their eyes going, oh man, that's gonna like, how am I gonna learn how to do that? But it's not difficult. Like it's not going to be difficult. Like that's what I don't think people understand. Is like up until this point, computers can be difficult for people because it's like clunky to learn, but it's literally this like voice to text or something, like it's like some stuff we already do on our phones. You just speak into it and it's going to give you all that information out. It's just like putting it in.
Yeah. With a little training, like something like that could go a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I really think that there's an application for that, and we could use it. So,
transmission. How much did you get into it?
I didn't do a whole lot of transmission.
Other than the energized stuff?
Yeah, like I think I kind of got picked for the barehand work just because of my rubber glove experience and working around energized lines. So you kind of have a good background before you get into that. Like I did do a bit of it, but it wasn't. Like I never worked on the major projects and stuff like that, where you're setting thousands of towers or stringing for days on end kind of thing. I did a little bit here, a little bit there, a lot of reconductoring, stuff like that in Calgary, and changing out poles, stuff like that, just little odds and ends.
You got an opportunity to work in Texas in 2014?
Yeah.
On that project?
Yeah, so I was on that 345 reconductor. I spent 3 months down there. And it was...
I must have crossed paths. Did you come in like before or after Andrew?
I can't remember the guys' names I was working with at the time. You mentioned Brock. I do remember Brock? I think he was there at the start when I first came. Ben, yeah. Tyler. I do remember Ben. There's a few guys that I do remember from down there, but there's so many guys coming and going on that project. It was just nonstop, kind of a roller coaster.
We had 2 Ballard guys on that were Andrew and Tyler.
Yeah. I was down there at the same time as those guys. Okay. And yeah, they went one way. I went another way with another guy. And so we kind of split ways down there. But yeah, no, that was a wild project. Like, yeah, I never thought that stuff was possible.
Yeah.
It's
crazy, right?
Yeah.
It was a aluminum wire with a composite core.
That was the first time I've ever seen that conductor, and that was not easy to work with. Yeah.
How much have you dealt with SD wire? I know there's a lot of that in Alberta, like self-dampening.
A little bit, but not a whole lot. It sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Get your torque settings right, or else you're gonna lose that core.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that composite core stuff. It's pretty neat concept, but it's not easy to work with. Yeah. It's like we did a lot of splicing, sleeving it out, and some dead ends, and it was a learning curve, that's for sure. Like those, I don't know what they were, like 12-piece sleeves we were installing were just brutal.
Yeah, it's horrible to work with. I worked with a little bit of it in northern Alberta. That was the last time I worked in Alberta. So I don't know how I got on this project, but it was January and February 2014, I think, in northern Conklin.
That's terrible.
It was the worst. It was the worst. It was the worst I'd ever, I will do everything I can to get out of Canada now because I hate the cold so much. And that is what sealed it for me, because it was, whether you're speaking Fahrenheit or you're speaking Celsius, it was minus 42. This is the same thing.
Yeah.
It was minus 42 every day for 2 months straight, and we were working in it, and it was just like the most awful. Yeah.
I was just up in Fort Mac. We were doing a barehand job, and so there's only a few barehanders left in our company, and so I get to go on these projects sometimes, and it's great being out there and working again. But we actually brought up one of the breakers from the ranch down here and did a job up there, and it was great tying 240 kV lines together and then de-energizing a few miles of it downstream. Cool. And super cool job. But like that breaker, that was the first time I've seen one of those. Like I worked with the toe behind ones on the ground, but never one that you mount on the end of a boom 100 feet in the air. Yeah. That was pretty neat. Yeah. There's some cool stuff out there, and I'm pretty glad that I'm able to see some of that stuff.
That's what I love about our abilities at Quanta. It's like, if you have a large problem to solve, chances are we have the abilities, like whether it's the people and the resources to solve that problem. And we see it in like that breaker, for example. Like I've seen and worked with the toe behind ones, and I've seen those ones that go on the boom and never worked with them. I saw them and see how they work. But like, what a cool thing to have to use in your toolkit is a freaking breaker on a boom 100 feet in the air if you need it there. Like, amazing.
Like who would have thought that stuff was out there? Like, unless you're in that group, you'd never see that stuff. And I know, coming to Quanta, like just the opportunity, like we had it pretty good before. We did a ton of cool, like rubber glove work and stuff like that. But when you get in the Quanta group, right, and you're talking line masters and breakers and just the energized services group.
That's the other thing on the line master side, the line master robotic arm. Like I remember working with the ones for distribution, and then a couple of times I got to work with what they call Big Bertha, which is one that was for 230 kV. But now they made the 500 kV ones. Have you seen those?
Yeah, I've seen the 500
single picks.
I walked through the ranch there in November and saw that, and I was like, "What is this?"
Yeah. So with 3 cranes, you can take bundled 500 kV, fan out a 500 kV tower, change the tower out and put it back together. And like, just, if that didn't just blow your mind right there, like to see that in the works and to realize like, hey, we just changed out a 500 kV tower in like a fraction of the time. It's amazing stuff. It's really cool.
No, the line masters are super cool. Like I have one full time that we use around Calgary, and we're using it.
Like on the distro side of things?
Yeah, almost.
Yeah.
We'll have jobs where we'll use it for months straight, and then it'll sit for a week, and then we'll use it for months straight again. Yeah. Like it's always getting used. And I'm actually getting something real fancy built right now. Nice. I don't want to say anything yet, but cool. It's in the works. I'll hopefully pick it up here soon from Quanta, and it should be interesting.
Nice.
But yeah, no, just having that energized services group, and being able to call them at any time and get a solution to any problem. Like I've called many times. We had a job down southern Alberta, and we were told, no way are you guys shutting this line off. So we had a transposition in the line, and we had to get rid of it because they didn't want it in there anymore. How do you take a transposition out? Yep. So we ended up rolling it out for about 9 spans using Line Master and a few other techniques.
No kidding. And
cut it out through an underground dip. It was on a 25 kV line. So just things like that, right? Where you reach out to that group, and if they don't have an answer, they know somebody that does. And like, yeah, it's pretty special to have that around at all times.
That's really cool. Like, roll it out to the dead end, or to the dead end to the dip. Yeah, that's so cool.
Yeah, like that was probably one of the cooler things I've got to do. Like looking at it, how would you something that you never come up with? Like, how do you get rid of a transposition? Most guys would probably put in a double dead end and do some fancy jumpering, right? Yeah. But to be able to get rid of that altogether and then roll it through an underground 9 spans away, like that's something pretty cool that not a lot of guys will ever see. We don't see a lot of transpositions on distribution anymore, so it's I'm pretty glad I was part of that one.
Yeah. What's a good leader look like to you?
Oh boy. Somebody that just jumps in and does what's needed. He doesn't have to be the best of the best. A guy that'll go out there, pick up a shovel, maybe help dig out whatever, fill in a pole hole. Guy that'll climb the last pole of the day. I think that goes a long way. Just show that you're out there, you can work too, and you'll have guys that'll kind of follow. That sets the standard for what leadership is.
So you're looking for somebody mainly that is a lead by example type person.
Lead by example, yeah. Just to go out, help out wherever needed, work with the guys. Don't be too good to get out there and get a little bit of dirt on you. There's nothing worse than seeing a guy that'll come out on site and all his fancy clothes and pointy shoes and like, why are you out here? Yeah. This is a work site.
100%.
So no, just lead by example kind of guy. Help out the guys. Always be there. Always be open. Be there to answer your phone.
Leadership development. Are you a student of leadership yourself, or like what are your thoughts on the company developing leaders within itself, that sort of thing?
So yeah, I'm a student of development, basically. I think you always are. I'm in a program called Quanta Elite. It's a program set right from the top of Quanta, and it basically, Duke says it best, when you bring in 4,000 new workers in 3 months, who's going to lead those guys? And this program is designed to kind of mentor us along and create new leaders. So this program, there's about 50 of us in the first round. It's something that I hope they continue with. It really is good. And we're have the opportunity to talk with other operating units, linemen from across the country, North America, actually Australia as well, because there's a few guys from there in it. So it's pretty neat, and to be able to have those contacts, talk to those kind of guys, figure out what's going on in other places, and you can really grow the program through that. We're getting talks from all kinds of high level guys, heavy hitter guys, and it takes months and months for this stuff to sink in. But just the training that they're offering. How do you grow your company? It's through leaders, and if you can't create those kind of guys, then you're not going to grow it. So I think right from the top of Quanta, they've realized that and designed these programs to create leaders and mentorship.
Leaders aren't like, they're not born overnight. You can be a natural born leader, but leadership, like the way Jocko puts it as well, is like leadership is a skill. It's a skill that can be developed and can be learned and can be trained. And I think if your businesses aren't, at least thinking about leadership, you're already behind. You should be developing leadership programs, because like that's exactly, nobody wants to lead anymore. When I talk to young guys and girls in these like line school classes, I talk to them quite a bit now. They ask me like, what do I need to be developing? What do I need to learn? And I tell them like a couple things. Soft skills are so important, and leadership is one of those. I don't know if it is a soft skill or it's kind of like just its own category, but leadership is like an incredibly important thing to learn. And I don't think that people want to become leaders, or they put enough time and effort into learning the skills of leadership. So I think being a student of leadership yourself, like studying it, like figuring out how to lead properly, because the world needs better leaders. We can see this. It's evident, right from the tops of governments to our businesses and companies. You need leaders at every level. And it's not just the presidents and CEOs. It's like, if you're a trades trainee, or if you're a groundman, or if you're a machine operator, like you can learn and be a leader within that skill set, just within that group. It doesn't even have to be that. It can be a mixed group. It doesn't mean that linemen lead better than operators. You could be a leader operator. It just means like it means a whole bunch of different things, but I think people need to put and invest a little more time and effort into it. And it's really nice when the businesses notice that and they invest in it as well, right? Because you're just doubling up your efforts. Like if you're already a student of leadership and the business comes in and goes, hey, we want to like help accelerate this even. It's an investment in the person and the people. And yeah, those businesses that say, hey, people are our number one asset. Well, how are you showing that? Are you investing in them? That's a great way to invest in them, is develop their leadership skills, because it can be used by everybody.
Yeah, I know for Quanta and the top of Quanta to realize that leadership is that important and putting that much weight on it is a huge deal. And yeah, if you don't replace those leaders or grow them, you're going to fail, and you're not going to be able to replace them. Like you kind of lump that in with safety. And like that's, if you just keep replacing guys that aren't qualified to be in those roles, you're going to fail. So if you can keep the guys, keep the leaders, grow them, you're going to be successful. And I've heard this quote a few times. I think my manager's used it a few times, and kind of the greatest compliment to a guy is if you can bring up a guy beneath you and he'll replace you. Like you did your job right. You trained him, and like if you can't do that, you're never going to be replaced yourself. Yeah. Like you're never going to grow. You're just going to be stuck in the same role over and over and over, doing the same thing.
It's 100% right. Like, yeah, that is true. If you want to move up in the company, find your replacement.
Yep.
Like you find your replacement and train them to do that. Don't wait for somebody to find that person for you, or just wait to be brought up. It's like, have them ready to go. And so many people get like scared that the job security thing, like, oh, if I do that, I'm going to lose my job. And it's like, isn't that the point? Isn't that what you want? Yeah. Like, stop being so scared of losing the job and going backwards. That's not going to happen. Like through that process, you're going to learn because you're now teaching that person. So
it takes a long time to figure that out. Yeah. Like, you're not going to be replaced. You're going to be bumped up to the next level, and you're going to have somebody else below you that's can do your job, do it well, and that you can count on when you're in a different role. So, leadership and the training side of it and all that, it's really kind of the next level and moving into. And if you can grow those leaders and have guys mentor the guys coming up beneath you and really show them kind of the big picture on the whole trade and what your role is or should be, then that's going to be successful. And if you can't do that, and we really have no business being there.
Do you have a good, do you read books? Do you have a good book or a guy you listen to at all on YouTube or anything that?
I don't read many books. I haven't read a book in years. Yeah. No, when I'm done work, I like to shut my brain off. I don't like to, like, I think your podcast is about the only one I listen to.
Good plug.
And no, when I'm done work, I like to shut down and just hang out with the kids, the wife, and do our thing. Like, I don't like to go out party. I don't like a whole lot of extracurricular activity. I just like to wind down and relax a lot.
On the mental health side of things, like, what are some things you do then to decompress? Just being with the family and doing those sorts of things really helps you? Yeah,
being with the family, like, especially the kids, like, it's hard to have a bad day around them. You just hang out, you go for a walk, bike ride, whatever, right? And it takes your mind away from everything, and you can get back into a good mindset. Families, kids, and the wife, that's what it's all about. And I'm pretty thankful to have a really understanding wife, and she does a ton of stuff. And so my job's pretty easy when I get home. I get to play with the kids.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's the best. That's the easiest.
Yeah.
The play with the kids side is the easier side. The taking care of them all day.
No, she's a stay-at-home mom. She works as a lifeguard a few days a week, or one day a week kind of thing, just to get some adult time and get back out in society, right? But she's with the kids doing activities and stuff all day long, school. So it's nice. I can come home and help with the kids. And there's never a bad day there.
On the safety side of things with the job, what are some lessons the job has taught you off the top of your head?
Safety is it's something that you get a little more serious about the longer you've been in the trade. When you're a young guy in the trade, you don't really take it that serious, right? It's not going to happen to me, but I've been involved in some incidents, and it's tough. So you learn pretty quick that safety's a high priority, and it comes with time. And I used to have a saying that you're not really that good of a lineman until you get hurt. You understand what it means to be hurt, but that's not really a good saying. You don't want to get hurt. Safety's number one. Like, it has to be. Mm-hmm. We've been in some situations, right, where guys get hurt. Like, I held a guy's neck up in the Northwest Territories waiting for an ambulance for a few hours, kind of thing, right? And you never want to get in that situation. If you can avoid an incident, then you got to do everything you can to get around that. Yeah. Nothing good comes out of incidents. Like, it hurts. It really does. And you don't want to see yourself in that situation. Like, you don't really understand what you're getting into until you've been in the trade quite a few years, right? You understand where you can and can't put your hands. You start thinking about, well, that pole looks rotten, or something just doesn't seem right with that pole. Am I going to go climb that? You don't know if somebody planted that pole in the ground, stamps right at ground level. Did they cut the butt off because they couldn't get it deep enough? Like, what is their story with that pole? And that's stuff that takes years and years and years to kind of see what's going to happen, right? And if you can figure that out at an early stage, I'd like to meet that guy, because I don't think that comes until quite a few years into the trade. So
I love that. I love that that's like being talked about more. And I think it does help you realize younger and younger to pay attention to those sorts of things. I talk about it a lot, and I know I've had people DM me and say that that was valuable and it made them start thinking a little bit more about those things. And the sooner we can start, because we all have that story, and I've shared it as well a million times, is like that story of like not listening to the quote unquote old guy on the crew when he tries to warn you about something that was a direct result of life experience for that guy. And he learned the hard way, and he's just trying to pass the lesson on to you, you know, before you have to go through it yourself. And it's really easy to learn. You just have to like set the ego aside for a second, you know, set the I'm Superman mindset, you know, like push down the testosterone a little bit and just look with your eyes, use all your senses, sniff it out, you know, like listen, you know, like do the things. Like, I guess like that's it too, is like sound test that pole. Like just do the thing. Like it's dumb, but do it. Like pull the hammer out, hit the bottom of the pole. Does it sound rotten? Does it sound solid? Test it, you know, like pull the screwdriver out, test it, dig away a little dirt. Just try, instead of just trusting so like blindly that it's going to be fine. So many times I ran into that scenario where it's just like, oh yeah, whatever. It's just like every other pole I climbed.
Well, you never know when an incident's going to happen, and it's when you least expect it. And it will happen. 100% it will happen. It's just a matter of time. And if you're not looking out for it, it's going to bite you.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those things where you never know what way it's going to go. 99% of the time it's going to be fine, but you never know, and it's going to happen eventually. And you gotta look out for those things, and you got to try and identify them before it gets to that point. And I know there's some good stuff going on right now within Quanta with the capacity model and stuff like that. I really hope that it changes the way that we look at stuff. The tailboards, just for example, like slips, trips, falls. Is that really a hazard? Like, I think you had Matt in here talking about that, and is that really a hazard?
You got to look at the shit that's going to actually kill you. That's why sticky exists. Like, what in this like work environment is this shit that's actually going to take our life if we don't pay attention to it? And how do we put the barriers in place to solve that energy release?
And it's everywhere. Like, our job is a dangerous job, and there's certain things we can do to make it safer, but we're never taking that danger out of it. Like, you go up, you're working 60 to 100 feet in the air with live electricity, and you can't see it, you can't smell it. It's always there, and there's nothing you can do about it. It just is what it is. So you need ways to mitigate the hazard, and what are you going to do? But that hazard, like electricity, is just one of them. There's thousands of hazards we work with out there on a daily basis, and so to try and identify everything is pretty tough, and you just have to have a good kind of third sense or sixth sense, whatever you want to call it, and know what's out there and what to look out for. And that just takes time. And a new guy coming in, he's going to be strong and probably a little dumb, naive, but he's going to learn it over time. And it's going to take a few years. It's not something you learn. Like, as soon as you get your journeyman ticket, that doesn't mean that you know it. It's going to take years and years and years to figure out what the hazard is and where they're at, how to position your body, just where to stand when you're setting up equipment or working with a pole or something like that, right?
It's taking the time too, like putting the time and effort into using rigging instead of like your body, instead of your back, instead of your shoulders. And I know that there's a million people out there that just rolled their eyes right now at that, but just wait till you're 40 or 50. Like, it's so cliched, it's so dumb to say it, but if you keep doing that to yourself, it's not going to work for you. It's just not going to work for you.
No, you can't. No. You can't do it forever. Like, I got bad shoulders because I used to like to, like, I'm a little guy, I'm not a big guy. and it takes a lot for me to throw wire around a crossarm.
Yeah.
Like I could barely reach the end of a crossarm. So it takes a lot to throw it around. And I got bad shoulders because I like to get up there and throw wire around, whether that be number 2, 3-aught, whatever. But coming down a pole in 2 steps, like you're gonna feel that later on in your life, and especially when cold weather comes. If you live in Canada, it really hurts. Yeah. So
being fully extended in your hooks and trying to lift, 477 peaker off of an insulator to swap the insulator out or something, like do that enough times. It's just, you're a hero because you did it. Wow, that's awesome. But man, it's just not going to fare well for you.
No, you take a bit of glory there at the start, right? Because you can do it. But 15, 20 years down the road, you're going to feel every one of those. Yeah. I sure do.
Yeah. Same. True story. All right. A couple more for you before we close her out. What advice do you have for your 18-year-old self?
Oh, man. Like we were just talking there, slow her down a little bit, and don't throw that wire around like you used to, and buy property. Yeah, true story. Love that one. This isn't financial advice, but if you only knew back then.
It's true story. I was talking about this with somebody the other day. It was, my first house was 86 grand, and I just man, my first house was 86. My second was 150,000 on 5 acres. Like, buy property, man.
Good luck finding that.
Yeah, they don't make it anymore. It's true. They just don't. You can't make enough of it, and it has never gone down in value. It does in 2008. Yeah, it went down, but swear to God, it's tripled. Right back up, if not tripled. Yeah, exactly. So it can have little bumps in the road, but real estate's a decent thing to look into. Do some education on it. I love that. What's the most valuable tool in your kit?
Oh, spurs and belt, 100%. Like throw that on and get up there.
It's made millions, hey?
Yeah, that's got to be it. I would rather be on a pole any day than a bucket, so I like my spurs and belt.
Love it. If you could change one thing about the industry, what would it be?
Probably there's just the politics in it. Yeah, there seems to be getting more and more politics, and some of that stuff needs to stay out a little bit so that the guys at the field level can do their work.
Sure. It's a true story, right? It's like at every level. It's like, just leave us alone. Just let's go do what we're good at. I always thought, you always hear it. I love those guys that are just linemen. You got such a great job when you're just the lineman on the crew. It's like one of the best jobs in the world. Yeah. There's your truck. There's the pole we're working on. Just go do your thing in the air with your buddy. You don't have to worry about those politics so much. Like if you're in that position, just enjoy it, because it's like the greatest job there is.
I used to have many, many great days where just be working out in the middle of nowhere, right? And you can just work all day long. Yeah.
Who's somebody that you would love to just sit down with, whether it's somebody that's alive now or somebody in the past, you just love to sit down with, talk to?
I think Michael Faraday.
Yeah.
When he was just a thought process to be developing like the Faraday cage, Faraday suit. And I'm not sure who he is, but the first lineman that ever went on the line in a suit.
I'm not sure it was a lineman.
Whoever it was, because there'd be some interesting stories there, I think.
I think they must have taken somebody from the local jail cell and put them in a metal box. Okay, we're going to see if this works.
Yeah, there could have been that.
He was on his way to the death sentence anyway. Yeah. Cool.
No, that'd be interesting to get that story.
Yeah. Love it. Thank you for making the trip. Thanks for doing this. It was a great conversation.
Thanks for having me on.
Again,
Much
buddy.
appreciated.
Love it. I hope you guys got some value out of that episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I just want to draw your awareness to a couple of other things. So we make these podcasts, yes, but it's not the only thing that we put out as far as content. Our social medias are full of valuable cuts from the podcast itself, as well as just a bunch of other educational stuff and entertainment. So go follow us at Powerline Podcast on all social media platforms. And then also YouTube. I don't think that a lot of you are aware of this, but we don't just load these podcasts onto YouTube. We also make vlogs, which are super educational, entertaining, great place to direct people to learn about the industry, learn about the trade, or just learn about what's going on within either Quanta or the Powerline industry in general. So hit up our YouTube channel. Again, it's at Powerline Podcast. You can catch those vlogs on there. We also load a bunch of other extra content in video form. We try to up the quality every time we do this. We try to up that quality. So hit up the YouTube channel. Make sure you're subbed to all those platforms. Appreciate you guys. Hope to see you again soon. We'll see you again soon. Peace.